they worked in a lot of modern world elements to it, which I
Yes.
thought was a nice surprise twist that could have gone south. But didn't, and we'll break into kind of why it didn't. But as the character, I love her character.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know much about her in general from a historical aspect,
Right.
but I think Rosamund Pike did a phenomenal job really creating this sense of her in the beginning, and then kind of watching her journey. It was really awesome. It was a great. She did a great job.
I'm starting to love me some Rosamund Pike.
Yeah.
She's pretty good, pretty diverse actor. And I love how she portrayed a genius. I've been lucky enough to have people who are gifted in my life. And so when you get to know like quote like real geniuses, real smart people,
Mhm.
they have a particular way of holding themselves, and they tend to be
Right.
quite socially inept.
Mhm.
And she nails it. Just
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yep. And the
yeah,
arrogance too. There's an air of arrogance that's not necessarily intentional, but it's
yeah,
there and it
absolutely.
exists. Yeah.
Yeah. And her husband calls it out, says that, you're self-absorbed, and that's exactly what it is.
Mhm.
They're not selfish people, but they're very familiar with what they know and who they are, and they
Right.
rely on it. And
Mhm.
so, of course, they don't care about you or anything that you're thinking about it. And it's
No.
not deliberate, it just is.
Yes. Yeah. It's when you're so comfortable in your confidence of what you know and you believe. That's the world. That's the box you put yourself in. And anything
Yeah.
else outside of that is too. It's very scary.
Right. And I
Mhm.
and I and I love that confidence she has as a character, because we come in and like, oh, we really like this character because we like that what she can do. And they use that adage of have a character that's great at something and so good at it that nobody else understands it, and you can get behind that character. And so they definitely use that for you to get behind her, because she's not really a likable person. But the
No.
fact that, she's overlooked as a woman, the fact that she tends to be the smartest person in the room, but nobody cares, you start to go like, okay, she's the underdog, and I dig this character.
Sure. Yeah. And it wasn't this overwhelming in your face gender identity scenario where we weren't thrown that the whole time. Because even for her, towards the end, she says, I dealt with a lot more roadblocks than just the fact that I was a woman. I couldn't get money and I couldn't get this and I couldn't get that. Who cares if I was a woman or not? And I thought that was really
Absolutely.
interesting and unique that they did that.
No, I agree with you. I like that they went multi-level with it, and they
Mhm.
didn't just stick with the whole sexism thing. I mean,
Right,
she
right.
had a lot of roadblocks. One, trying to be a scientist, talking about things when most of the people still kind of thought the world was flat-ish. I mean, like
Yeah,
science was still like taboo. Um,
the flat earth thing was great.
yeah, they were bleeding you in the streets from disease with like leeches and stuff. So I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't great. So. I really liked that they came into the story, and she goes into the process of dying, and then we see flashbacks and flash forwards, and I thought that was great because it sets you up for when they start flashing forward
Mhm.
in the story. And I thought that was good, because if you just start flashing forward and we don't know that that's going to be a story mechanism,
Right, the
it,
context, yeah.
it can throw everything off.
Yeah, and the use of the flashing forward really was. I mean, I loved what they did with that because it starts in the beginning, and we understand that she feels like I'm doing this because I do want to do good,
Yeah.
and yet we still get these blips and these flashes of we don't understand later on what that consequence might look like. And
Right.
we keep seeing it. We keep seeing that as we're watching her journey of her discovery through this.
What I liked that they did on top of that is that they paired it thematically
Mhm.
with what she's going on in her family.
Right.
So her husband Pierre is dying, he's sick, and then when he gets really sick, we flash forward abruptly, but we flash forward to a little boy who is in the future, and I think it was in the 50s,
Yeah.
who was
It's cancer. Yeah.
has brain cancer and is about to have one of the first treatments of radiation therapy, targeted radiation therapy to the brain. I thought, okay, if you're going to write this in, if you're going to write in a flash forward, that's how you do it. You pair
Oh,
it
for
in
sure.
thematically with where she is in her life. And they did that. And I thought, okay, well done. Very good. It makes it less jarring. And I really did enjoy that.
Yeah, every one of them was set up really well in that regard towards the end. I mean, I was like, oh, we're going to get to Chernobyl. I know.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, there it is. Because,
Yeah.
ultimately when we even think of the grand scale of it, like that's one of the first thoughts we go to.
Yeah. I mean, that's where you see going, what made me sad is that you get the little boy of the radiation treatment and like, okay, there's the hope. And then all of the other flash forwards are just awful moments of radiation.
They're garbage.
And it's just like, oh man, it's rough. I was hoping like, is there going to be anything else that's hopeful? And there wasn't. So I was like, okay, well, this is where we're at. But I thought it was really interesting when they worked in real products that were radium induced products, like the fact that they had like radium mascara and they had radium
matches, powder,
toothpaste, and that was all real. They did that stuff was sold, you could buy it. It's crazy what they did. Now I don't know if you remember this, we're close to the same age. When I was little, I remember my dad taking me to the store and buying a pair of shoes. And the guy said, slide your foot into this box. And I slid my foot in the box. He hit a button and it did an x-ray of my foot. And and I could see my foot in the shoe. And that's how they showed your foot was fitting properly. Right. And it was an old school place. I'm sure it was probably like the last one around that ever did that. But if you could think about, they're using radiation like that for a shoe,
like, the whole x-ray thing. I mean, that's again the positive that they do loop back essentially when towards the end she's using the portable x-ray machines, which obviously we still
in World War I, which was good. And they talk about, I mean, how many people they help save from losing extremities and things like that, which is great. They really did show a nice benefit there. But it is a type of thing where it can hurt you or it can help you depending on how you do it. I mean, she was sleeping with a bottle of radium every day.
I thought that too, because I'm like, she's sick the whole time, but she's sleeping with this bottle.
And I think they started to show it more after she lost her husband. And so I think the visual subtext there was like this bottle of radium was representing Pierre in my interpretation of it, because she'd wake up and it'd be the first thing she would grab. But her getting anemic, him dying, and he was a great character to play off of her because she's so abrasive as a character. And then you have this guy that is the calmest, sweetest,
so dedicated,
nicest man that you've ever met in your life. And so what a great combination. And listening to those two have a big argument, right? A huge argument in the middle of the film. And then you're like, oh, this is going to get juicy. But they love each other so much that they still can't. I've never seen an argument like that on a film. I've always seen like the big, throwing expletives at each other, slamming doors in your faces. And that argument ends with, I love you so much, it frustrates me. And they leave. And I was like, oh God, that's beautiful. I wish I could fight that way.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, I get it, because at the end of the day, he even says, I can't imagine my life without you, even when you weren't in it. And so that's the definition of what kind of the purpose of his life. He came to make a statement about, this was the purpose of my life, was to find you and what we've created and done. And I think it was the same for her. So you're right. The radium that she was sleeping with was her purpose. There was a belief. She knew it was there. She was going to make it happen because she knew it was there. And he was the only one that believed in her.
Yep.
So that's kind of that representation.
Right. And I liked how they worked in the play of Egos with the Nobel Prize. I thought that was really good storytelling. And again, a way of keeping conflict, right? You want to keep conflict in a story. And if you have a married couple that love each other, that have gone through a lot of trouble to really find success and keep each other together. Okay, how do we instill more conflict? Let's play with the ego.
Yeah,
Let's play with the
exactly.
ego. And that's great because egos really can absolutely
Hmm.
tear couples apart.
Oh, for sure. Particularly on something like that, where it was the whole reason you were brought together. And
Yes.
yeah, so I can totally understand that.
It's that Chinese curse of may all of your fondest wishes come true. Right. And then you
Right?
get, yeah, and then you get those wishes, you go, oh my God, you've changed as a person and I don't know who you are anymore. And so I think that was awesome. And her losing him was devastating in the story. You could
Oh, yeah.
really feel it. And then turning to his best friend and breaking up the marriage and all of that stuff
Yeah, it
was
was weird.
wild.
I
Yeah.
know. I really didn't. I kind of saw it coming because they set it up earlier where the friend is
Yeah.
watching her and he's interested in her, and I'm like, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I didn't really expect that it was like breaking up the whole marriage
I
type.
didn't think it was going to go full tabloid, but it
Yeah,
did,
it did.
but yeah, I don't know how I feel
She was
about
a
it.
tabloid star then.
Yeah. She was. The Inquirer was writing about her even back then. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know if it added as much to the story as they wanted it to. I think again they were just trying to keep the plot moving forward, whether it's true or not. But I did like a little bit of the spiritualism that they tipped in,
Yeah,
where she has the full breakdown in front of the former spiritualist's home
home.
where she's like, "Can you bring back my husband?" I was just like, "Oh my God, that
I
was
know.
that was powerful."
Gut wrenching. And again, that time with spiritualism on the rise as it was, there was a really interesting, wave of like this border of is it science or not?
Yep.
Scientists were fascinated by it,
Pseudoscience.
pseudoscience.
Yeah.
So I actually appreciated that too, that they went down that direction to kind of bring that question. For her, it's like if I can't see it and I can't touch it,
Right.
it's
It's
not
not
there.
real. Yeah.
It's not real. Yeah.
No, I love it. It was really great for her character arc to go from that person to losing someone and then
Mhm.
losing someone so close to you that you lose who you are and then
Sure.
you're just broken down on the side of the road with
And you just want to believe.
begging.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you just want to
Right.
believe even though you know it's not real. Yeah, it's really good. I love how they pulled in the daughter so you had a little bit of a lineage there
Mhm.
and eventually getting to the end of the film, I thought it wrapped up nicely.
I did too. I thought and I didn't actually know that about her daughter as well. I, again, didn't know as much about her historically. So I really didn't understand or realize that her daughter also continued on in that science realm and won a Nobel Prize.
Yeah,
Shame on me.
I think they even used the Curie as a measurement of radiation
I think
at
so,
one
right?
point. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So which I mean that's like the biggest honor you can have. Now there's a lot of stuff with radiation that they didn't show, like people's teeth falling out and stuff like that. But they just showed them pale and sickly.
Yeah. Or,
So
let's just throw in Hiroshima and Chernobyl and that's it. That's the bar right there.
that's a high bar. Yeah, when
That's
they
far.
when they went with Hiroshima, I was like, yeah, okay, they're gonna have to. Of
Wait,
course they
right.
are. Yeah.
But it was this
But
dichotomy of like, I want to believe that people are going to use this more for good than bad, even though I do know and realize this will probably be used as a weapon one day
yeah.
when he gave a speech for the Nobel Prize.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I think that was good. I think they could have gone a little bit further with the radiation therapy, radiation treatment stuff, showing more about the x-rays and things like that. But they did tend to kind of harp on the fallout
Yeah.
of radiation. So I could see that. But performances were great. I really enjoyed, everything about this script or about this
Mhm.
film outside of it could get a little slow. Um,
Sure. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
got a little bogged down.
because it did feel like there was a lot that happened within that first 30 to 45-minute mark. I was surprised that we jumped in as soon as we did. I'm
Yeah.
fine that we did, but usually with these ones, you expect that you're going to go back a little further with a little more history and then
No.
be taken.
Yeah. No, they skipped right ahead and they got
Yeah.
into
Hmm.
her wanting her own lab and then they're out because there's a lot more like when she first went to France being Polish, there was even more of a struggle
Right.
there.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, they skipped all of that and they just made it established that nobody likes her.
Yeah. Nobody likes her because she's not only is she from Poland, but then she's breaking up marriages and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah. A genius, right? So,
yeah,
they're not gonna like that either.
no, it's threatening. It's threatening to I mean, I understand that. Being a woman myself, there's an aspect of people feel threatened when a woman is in a field and has an understanding and a knowledge in a field that has genuinely or always been known to be more male dominated.
Right.
So
Right.
it's understandable. Yeah.
I feel very threatened right now. I don't feel safe. I feel very
Am I
insecure.
making you feel unsafe, Geoffrey, in your safe space?
I just don't know if we can keep doing this, Kristy. All right. So what was your favorite scene in the film?
Oh gosh. Oh,
you're on the spot.
I am on the spot. There's a number of them. Oh my gosh, there were so many good ones. I love the scene where she goes into the club and she sees the woman dancing and she first kind of approaches.
Oh yeah, the fire dance.
The fire dance.
What a cool visual.
That was so cool because it was this aspect of like, fire, which is kind of the scientific. And then she really appreciated it more than before.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really neat. I loved that sequence and that scene.
Well, the whole scene is great because that scene paints together their relationship. He's standing there enjoying the performance and he notices her. She walks over and she goes, I'm not standing next to you because I like you. It's just because you seem awkward and I would definitely be awkward if I was standing alone. So I think we should just stand alone together.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great writing. Right?
I know. It's just a great
it's great writing. It's expressing who the characters are through action.
Absolutely.
And then his reaction, the performer's reaction to her was great because he just goes with it and he's amused by her.
Yeah.
Which makes you love him even more. So that is a wonderful scene. And I could definitely see why you liked it. My favorite scene was anytime, because it was a subplot. Anytime she was in the room with the older professors, I loved.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I loved because throughout that subplot, it starts out with, she's beneath them and
she's like begging and she wants this.
Yeah, exactly. And they discredit her to where she wins the Nobel Prize and then she like drops the bomb on him. This is what I want. And then like walks out, to where she loses her husband and then they offer her a position and she won't take pity. I mean, it was just like every time we see her in front of her supposed peers, we're getting a big peek into who she is inside, what her internal struggle is. And then finally at the very end where he's like he just accepts her and says that he always accepted her, but it was on her end, which I thought was really fascinating. Yeah,
that was interesting too, of the fact that if you think about it, was she her own worst enemy in that way? Yeah, exactly. Was she putting up the conflict in front of them, even though they were just trying to be, her peers, but she was so used to not being treated well that she saw through that filter. Yeah, those are great. Those are great scenes too. I I liked those. And then I liked at the end when her daughter's older. I think it's Anya Joy Taylor. I know, she keeps sneaking up everywhere. I love her. She's good. Love her. She's really good. But then it's interesting because then she went on to do the Queen's Gambit, and again, it's this character who is just so a savant in what they know. But goes through this madness journey, and it was cool to see her in this one. No, I like seeing her in this one too, and I love the times that Marie Curie plays off of her because she's worried. She sees a lot of herself in her daughter, right? And does what any parent would say who's lived through a tragic path. Yeah, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. But then don't see that guy. Don't do exactly. That. Don't do this. Yeah, but then the daughter's like, no, I'm going to do this, and then follows in her footsteps and wins her own Nobel Prize, which is awesome. Like she says, that I'm still doing it right. She doesn't argue, but she knows. It's great. Yeah. No, that's an awesome line. All right. Well, this episode is brought to you by the Script Summit Screenplay Contest, where you can win a cash prize or a chance to have a contract with a Hollywood talent manager. So what are we thinking for next week? You got anything in mind? I don't have anything in mind. I picked this one. So you're gonna make me pick? Yeah, I picked this one. I guess it'll be like Mortal Kombat then. Oh, I'm so fine with that. I'm totally fine. Wait, is it out before next Wednesday? It's gonna be out tomorrow. No, we won't pick Mortal Kombat. What are we gonna analyze in this one? I really enjoyed the fatality.